Well, it's been a million hours, a million days. Let's start that again. No, I'm just kidding.
It's it's
It's
been
been.
since December 28th, Kevin.
Is it been that long?
Yeah, last time we did this was my birthday.
Hmm. Birthday podcast.
So we got to catch up on the last 3 days of
Oh man.
December, January, February,
Okay. And
and a
almost
week
half of
2
March.
weeks in March. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we got a lot to
that's
catch up
crazy.
on. Okay, let's sum up.
Okay. Well, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We were just kind of reminiscing there. We were actually backstage talking before we pressed the record button, and I was like, we just started talking about stuff. I was like, dude, why aren't we live talking about this right now? We're gonna we're gonna talk about all our ideas before we even get live. So we're here live, guys. Thank you for those of you who have made comments on the YouTube channel saying, hey, we missed the show. Thank you. Where are you at? But we thank you for that. And to the Boom Squad members that are listening or may come in here, thank you for your undying support. We really appreciate it. You make the world go round. Mike is sitting there sporting his Muddy River catfishing coffee cup, and I have my Beast coffee cup there, or mug, or whatever you want to call
I'm
it. Or
jealous of the capacity of your mug.
it's a cool 30 ounces. So I mean,
This is
it's kind of
20 and I'm used
this
to
is
32.
sugar free sweet tea.
Ooh, now
Yeah.
I'm really jealous.
Well, let's see. The last 3 days of the year, man. I did a camping video the last 3 days. Hey, there's Phil T. What's up, Phil T? Um, I did a camping video, and those things always start off slow but pick up momentum, and it's already almost over 10,000 views.
Awesome.
So basically, I took the pontoon out and fished during the day. Caught me an eater catfish. Caught two actually, and threw one back. Parked the boat in a cove. Cleaned the catfish. Cooked it up. Videoed all that. Slept on the boat, and it was a good video. I really had fun doing that, and my fans. My subscribers seem to like those videos, and I get a lot of traffic on those. So I wish I could do those more. But time is crazy, man. Like that's like a 2 day thing. You have to plan to leave out one day and come back the next. And
Yep.
so there's no like, you know, you can't really do anything the day you get back because you're so worn out.
You could still hit the Chinese buffet though.
Oh man, don't talk to me about Chinese buffet.
Okay, so I did that on purpose, everybody.
Well, you gotta
Uh,
get January first, man.
we always talk about food and moving up towards January 1st. You're thinking of like, what's your New Year's resolution? And I literally put my January 1st New Year's resolution off until maybe March 10th. So mine was delayed, but yes, gonna try to eat a little bit better, gonna try to lose some weight. I
Yeah,
really feel like my mind's ready. I know my knee is ready and my ankle. So
I hear that.
and my hip, all on the right side. My left side's solid, but the
Mhm.
whole right side's just like, come on, dude, let's lose some weight. I'm like, all right, I think I should.
Mine's more of my heart pounding and my lungs screaming
Yeah.
at me. It's like, stop gaining weight. But yeah, we went through January kind of just preparing for February. I mean, really,
Absolutely.
that's all it was.
Absolutely.
I went fishing a couple times, and I can't even remember the trips really. I know it was cold and windy, and it was very uneventful as far as the fish are concerned. We had a really kind of rougher winter down here, and I know for you Westerners and Midwesterners,
Tell me all about it, Kevin.
that's like a huge lap. But for down here, like usually March is our windy month, and it has been windy this March. But January and February were almost unfishable on the lake. And my 2023 goal was to fish the lake more, but I've already been back to the river. Like I just can't stand the wind. But
Well, it's dangerous too.
yeah, it is very
Really
dangerous.
dangerous.
We did the Whisker Bowl on the lake, and I just about sank the boat. A live stream. I mean, it's just rough, and it wasn't fun. I caught a few fish, but yeah, For here that was very extreme. Usually we get cold and it's just cold, but cold and wind, as you know, Mike, drops that temp and makes it feel even worse.
Yep, absolutely. We got a little lucky. We January, everything's frozen. I did get to go ice fishing with a
Ooh.
guide, uh, friend of Spencer's. His name's Ryan Tasler, and Trish set it up. It was half for her sanity, as she had made it halfway through the school year, and half for my birthday. That's how she justified the expense. So we got to go ice fishing. It was an absolute riot. I mean, it was like playing a fishing video game because you could see right there on the flasher that the fish were down there and then they'd come up towards your lure. And it's not live scope, don't need live scope, although we're getting ready, fishing our last 30 minutes, shall we say. And along comes another YouTuber, Fishing Kit, uh,
Okay.
came along and he had live scope.
Ooh.
So he would drill a hole and then he'd be like, okay, walk 10 feet that way and drill
Oh.
a hole. And he helped drill like 6 or 7 new holes for Ryan to fish after we had left. And as soon as he drilled this one, he's like, okay, that's the good one. Ryan put his bait down there, bang, caught 2 fish like it was nothing.
What kind of
So,
fish?
bluegills,
Okay. Big ones?
eater sized bluegills.
So, like,
We
what's an
were,
eater to you? Like hand size?
yeah, yeah, but I got a 2X hand. So,
So what, like 6, 7 inches?
I want to say these were probably like 7 or 8, maybe.
Oh,
And
okay.
some of the bluegills that I catch down here, I found a place where there's some bluegills, and they're literally like probably 12, 13 inches.
Oh, we gotta
They
hurry and
are
get to
they're
February.
over a pound, dude, and they're
That's awesome,
mean.
man.
Oh, they're so mean. So
Nothing fights like a real good brim, like a real good
I
bluegill.
love it. I love it. And I didn't grow up fishing on these things. Everybody's like, well, everybody starts fishing panfish, then you make your way to crappie, and you graduate to cat. That's not how I did it. We fished for bullheads, which basically hook or swallow the hook
Right.
for themselves, and we would fish for carp and catfish, and that's it. So I didn't know pan fishing until I started to become a catfisherman, be more focused on it. I'm telling you, this is just a blast. I love it so much. I love watching you and Anna in the videos catch all those fish. You show me how to do it, and I'm like, hey, I can do that here. So I can adapt, and take people's advice on what works for their waters and
Mhm.
try it here. And I did catch a couple red-eared sunfish last year, and they
Shellcracker,
were
Mike, call them
they
shellcracker.
were mean. They were my favorite. They're probably my favorite catch last year
Yeah?
because my daughters caught them.
Mm,
So those mean shell crackers
there you go.
zipped and zagged and moved. I mean, I was telling Kristen to hang on to the rod because I
Yeah,
thought Leia was going to lose the rod.
yeah.
So it was so much fun. I mean, I felt bad using them for bait, but I didn't feel bad for using
I
them for
do,
bait.
I feel
You know,
that sentiment, man. Like, if I'm trying to bait fish and I catch a big, like, almost pound shellcracker, I'm like, how much bait do I got? Because I wanna throw them big ones back, and
yeah,
really we should. It's kinda like the same thing with catfish. The big ones are gonna be your spawners, are gonna create those genes, but there's so many panfish, it's like, 1 or 2 here or there is fine.
we literally only caught maybe 3, and then everything else that we caught were bluegill. Then you catch a couple crappie, couple bass, and Lauren loves the bass because they jump,
Mm,
and she loves the crappie even more, I believe, because of their black and white, camouflage colors. So she last
they're
year she
shiny.
caught a black crappie.
Mm.
So I really look forward to her catching a white or a yellow crappie just to see. And then as they get bigger, their colors, depending on where they are, change so much. I mean, some of them to me look like rainbow colored on, like their belly or their back or whatever. So
I was once told by a friend of ours that there's no such thing as different crappie. Like they're all white crappie, and they just have different tints, kind of like
really.
catfish do. But so many people call them like you did. White
Mhm.
crappie, black crappie,
Yep.
yellow crappie. So I wonder if it's true. Well, my DNR says there's a white and black here in South Carolina, so the DNR recognizes it anyway.
Yeah.
Either way, they
I,
taste good.
I've caught a yellow crappie, and I'm like, whoa, look
What's
at
yellow
you.
about it? Like, tell me, like, describe it.
Um, Pretty much wherever you think that it would be white, it's kind of like a pale yellow.
Like a perch
So
almost,
it's maybe it's like a it's yeah, maybe a little bit more like a
like a
perchy
red
looking
perch
color.
belly.
And I was just like, man, bro, you got jaundice or what's going on with you? And then I'm like, oh wait, maybe that's mean. And then
He's sick.
I'm like, no, really, is that what's different about you? And honestly, it was so big I should have ate it, but I'm just like, I've never seen one like you before, so I'm
Yeah,
putting you back.
and then again, the
You know?
question: why are you yellow?
Yeah.
And do I want to eat you and become yellow myself?
Oh, it was really cool.
That's cool, man. I've never
Last
been
year I
ice
bought
fishing
myself that
before.
sonar bobber uh,
Yeah,
as a Christmas present from the family to me,
mhm.
and I'm telling you, that is a cool little device, and
I
it
bet,
works.
especially for ice fishing.
So if you go pond fishing,
Mhm.
or if you're off the bank, if you happen to have a spare $180, that is a heck of a cool device and very, very useful.
We just had a whole bunch of chat pop up at one time. I think
Yeah,
StreamYard just caught
awesome.
up. Did you see that?
I was wondering I was wondering if anyone would notice us before the end of the show, but
Yeah.
that blew up right there. We
Well, it
got
just like
Don
went
R.
pow, and all the comments came up. So if you're listening, you're not knowing what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I run if you're new to the channel, I run a YouTube channel as well called Palmetto Cats, and I have a membership group over there called the Boom Squad. And in the Boom Squad tonight, we got Phil T, Sogo, Don R, and LG Bass. And all their comments just popped up on the software we're using at one time. So it was like, bam. But thank you
Ooh,
guys for coming. Don R says we have black crappie.
he
Sogo
says
said
they
he's
get a little bigger too.
never had any luck using shell crackers for bait. Interesting. And then Black said he'll get a little bit bigger. Yeah. Don R said he wish he had one. I guess he means the yellow crappie. Awesome. Well, January kind of came and went, and then February we had the Winter Blues on Chaz's channel at tournament. That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I thought that
And
was a
then
good one.
I also been doing a lot of live weigh-ins, Mike, like
Hmm.
going to local tournaments and weighing in. And the bobber, that's what he wish he had. Your bobber, the sonar bobber you were talking about. Um, But anyway, I've been doing a lot of live weigh-ins. People seem to like that. And what I noticed in the chat is there's people that have never been to a actual live catfish tournament. So I was getting comments like, "Wow, I was always wondering how that worked." And I'm like, "What do you mean what worked? Just how they weigh them in and how they let them go and all that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a big thing. It's the tournament scene is huge. Probably not as big as bass fishing, but um, just as hard, or actually harder, because you got to think about these live well systems these guys have to have. Some of them have oxygen and 100-gallon tanks built into their boat, so they can have these monster fish. And all the weigh-ins I did in January and February were 3 fish weigh-ins. So you could have, one team had 250s and a 60 in the same tank.
Jeez.
The biggest fish I've seen so far doing this is an 81 pounder, and that was the only fish they caught that day, and that got them fourth place. So they scored in the money with one fish. I think the winning total was like 110 pounds. But
Where do they get to fish?
so all the tournaments I've been doing weigh-ins for are on Santee Cooper, or the Cooper River.
Mhm.
So local here. The lakes are about 45 minutes from me, and I'll drive up there, and usually it's at one of the fish camps up there. Um, but they can fish the upper lake, which is Lake Marion, or the lower lake, which is Lake Moultrie. And basically, they can drag, drift, anchor, spotlight, whatever they want. And then they have to be in by a certain time. Usually it's around 3:30. And then they come to the weigh-in. They have certified scales and a whole guy with a microphone there. And guys, if you're listening, you haven't checked it out, go over to my channel. I have several of them. And actually, this Friday and Saturday, I'll be streaming a huge tournament called the Santee Cooper Big Cat Brawl. The guy last year, I did a documentary on him and another guy, and last year he won $10,700 something dollars, just for one tournament for six fish, because it's a 2 day tournament. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, I'll be live streaming that on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th about 3 o'clock. But that's what I've been doing kind of for February and March. I started fishing with a couple guys. One of them is the weighmaster for the Santee Lakes Catfish Club, and the other is just a friend of ours. He actually owns um, Easterland Drift Socks, so I got to fish with him, which is really cool. We just been having fun. They're characters, man. They like to have fun, and we have to come in early because Mark has to get ready for the weigh-in. But man, it's just been a blast getting to know those guys. Um, and then we went to Catfish Conference. February Catfish Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was a blast. Um, Biggest one I've ever seen, and from what I hear, it's the biggest one ever. Well, have you heard the same things, Mike?
Yeah, I was wondering how many people they thought went through the gate.
I think you said 8,100.
Wow. It's uh it's crazy to think it, but at the exact same dates, they have the Fisherman's Swap Meet, the annual Fisherman's Swap Meet here in Des Moines, down at the fairgrounds. And I think that the most people they ever said went through there in for that it's Saturday and Sunday. I think they said that it was 15,000 or 20,000
Whoa.
tickets were sold. But when you go down there, you are literally elbow to elbow all the way. Well, you were. Maybe not anymore now that COVID swept through the last few
Yeah.
years. But we would always go as a family. And then I got invited to help out with the CatCon team. And I'm like, I'm going to miss this next one here, folks. And I've missed the last couple. But wow, CatCon is just, that's something. That is, that's an experience. You see so many people. You get to feel the true passion and energy of everyone in the industry,
Mhm.
and
Plus crappie vendors this year.
yeah. And then I went over to the crappie side and I spent another $200. So, but it's really something special. If you haven't been there, it's definitely worth the price of admission. It's worth the price of lodging. You'll have more fun than you could have ever imagined. You'll get to go shut down a Chinese buffet with us and the One Ton Fishing Club, and uh, grilling out the
That
was it the
was
night
one.
before?
The more I think about that, man, that was just such an awesome. I wish it wasn't so chilly for me. I know what
Yeah,
chilly for you, but I like.
yeah. Well, I was standing in front of an 800-degree
True.
grill.
Yeah.
So, which was totally fine until it started smoking over a little bit and making me cry.
So
But that
basically,
was
we got
so
this
fun.
hotel, guys, with Weber grills in the front that the guests can use, and all you do is go up to the front desk and say, "Hey, I need utensils," and they give you spatulas and tongs, and you turn on the gas and bring whatever you want to cook and throw it on there. And Mike and Uncle Jeep went to Sam's Club. I think it was both of y'all, right?
Yeah, Trish and I and Vonnie went
Uh,
to Aldi's, and
all
Uncle
these.
Jeep went to Sam's Club.
Yeah.
So we got some fruit, some meat, some chips, some
chicken,
buns, some ketchup and mustard, and off we went.
hamburgers.
And then Dustin and Josh and I were cooking.
Yeah,
And there was a fire pit
it
just
was
a
great.
couple
But
feet away from the
we're
grills.
talking about a hotel, guys. We're not talking about like a
Yeah, so
house
we're out on
wedding.
the patio of this hotel, the front
Like
entrance of this
you can hear
hotel.
that highway, the interstate, right across the street. Like,
You know,
but it was so cool because you felt like you were renting a house. And the only thing that could have made it better is if, like I said, they had like some kind of windbreak, like a big fence, like a
yeah,
privacy fence around it. That would have been cool. But
you figure
and
that they
Hervey
would
ended up
like to
coming
have
back,
something like that.
and he was tired and didn't want to go out to dinner, so he grabbed some dogs and a hamburger. What's up? Doc Reed's in the house, and LG Bass called it the 2024. Oh wait, we're going next year to the 2024 Catfish, Crappie, and Chinese Buffet Extravaganza.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We walk back in there one time next year. If any of the staff is still there, they're going to be like, "Oh man, not these
I don't,
guys again."
I don't think we did that much damage, to be honest
I
with you.
did.
You did.
I know I did.
Let's see. I was so
Everybody kept talking about the plate that they had in front of them. I kept going back for more.
my thing was is I was working, running around and stuff, and I made the mistake of eating about 2 hours before we were set to go there, and I just got some cheese fries, and Bonnie and your sister got me some chicken strips,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna eat them because you got them for me.
Heck
So,
yeah.
and I appreciated it, that I really did.
Absolutely.
Actually, what I said was, they said, "All you're gonna get is fries." I said, "Yeah, chicken strips are like $13." I said, "I'm not getting that." And so they went and got them for me because they're sweethearts. But
Yeah. They were having fun. Did you hear their southern accents that they were
no, I
talking in?
didn't. I didn't.
Oh my. I thought we were going to get beaten up and thrown out of that Aldi's because Trish kept saying things with a huge southern accent, and Bonnie kept responding saying the same thing too. And everything that we came across, she's just like, "Is this an event for pie? Do we bring pie to this event? Or did you get the ice cream? And it's like, I also got strawberries. Did you see the mango?" And I'm just like, "Oh, you two need to stop." And then you see some real nice ladies walking around staring, looking over like, are they making fun of our accent? And I'm just like, "Oh, we're going to get beat up." I was like, that lady's going to beat us all up and throw us out of her Aldi's. And
Uh,
it was so much fun though, walking around with them. I'm just like,
well, they
"We
had
came in
fun
here
with it.
for
That's the
chicken
whole
breast.
point.
What are you getting?" And fruit, chips, all this stuff. And everybody tore it up. And then the next day, Trish brought the leftovers into CatCon. She brought a couple bags in. There's leftover hot dogs, and Curtis and Eric are like, "Thank you so much for bringing those hot dogs in here, man." He's like, "Grilled food, and it didn't cost $15." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Well, it's like there is an expense to food here, yes."
yeah. But I like how everybody chipped in and kind of,
Yeah.
gave some money to you guys, and it's just after the Golden Whiskers Awards and working for 2 days straight at CatCon, like it's just like I just want to go sit down and shove food in my face, and I don't want to pay $500 for it.
What I
But,
couldn't
like
believe
Kansas
though.
City, like we spent a bunch of money on food. So
Oh
this is
yeah.
the previous cat, and you're not grilling out nowhere in Kansas
Well,
City.
Kansas City was like what, maybe $25 a person per meal.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
at
right in the
at
middle of
the
the
minimum,
city.
at the
Yeah,
minimum.
it's expensive.
Well,
It
then
was good.
I made the mistake of not a mistake because I enjoyed their company, but I went with Hervé and Steve to this restaurant that Hervé
Oh
picked,
yeah.
and the cheapest thing on the menu was $12, and it was like a cup of soup. And so me and Anna got out of there. I ate a cup of soup and I had, I think, a soda, and she had, something for her, and we got out of there for $100. I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man!" Like it was nuts. And I said, "Nah, we're not doing that no more." I said, "If we come back to Kansas City, we'll do one night out eating. We're getting pizza the rest of the time. We're chilling out and having a good time."
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
actually where where the pizza idea came from, Mike, was I
The
just wanted.
barbecue was expensive,
Yeah,
but I thought it was tasty.
it
I'm
was.
like,
It was
well,
everything we had was delicious.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I just
and
like that it's all within walking distance.
yeah,
So
and
I
I don't
parked
mean to
my
come
truck
off
and that
like
was it.
negative. You know, you're on
Yeah.
vacation, you're trying to have fun, but
Yeah, but
whew,
when your
man,
biggest expense is food and that's $50 per person for one
yeah,
meal, that's just
it's
wow.
tough. It's
Yeah.
tough, very tough. Yeah, Tom LG Bass made a comment. He said the damage was minimal because we got there late. I think I don't know. I had my fill. I think my problem was is I ate too soon before I got there, but it was good. You know, I mean, it wasn't the best Chinese restaurant I ever had, but the company
No,
was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Company was awesome. Yeah, said he was able to go home at Kansas City Cat Con. That is a plus, I guess.
Yeah. If
But
we do
yeah,
not
man.
return there, I will be disappointed
Yeah, we're
because
not
it's
going
only a
back.
3-hour drive for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the drive is very, very quick. But
And speaking of which, you know, talking about CatCon, one of our leaders, one of the co-founders, Steve Douglas, is in the recovery room. If you hadn't heard, Steve Douglas had a triple bypass surgery this morning. So, he is in recovery. I've heard that was the last I heard, which was a couple hours ago. So if you're a praying person, please pray for him. Prayer does work. I know it does. So he would appreciate that. But we know he's got plenty of time to heal up. He's got almost a year to heal up, and we'll have him back to his old self. I know it. But CatCon, so one thing you were talking about crappy earlier. Well, let's stick on the food for a second. So Uncle Jeep, I finally tasted the bacon eclairs. And I was very surprised. And the thing I was surprised about was that they weren't super rich and heavy. Looking at them, you think, oh man, this is gonna be like so sugary and rich and heavy, and I'm not gonna be able to finish it. Dude, that thing went down like air. It was delicious.
yeah, I personally still do not agree with using bacon that way. I I'm I'm a bit of a snob, I will admit. Like people are like, "Oh, I bacon wrapped this pork loin and I threw it in my Traeger smoker, on low for 6 hours." And I'm like, "You don't bacon wrap that." I was like, I'll bacon wrap a steak if I want that crispy bacon.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, I just eat bacon as bacon. So then someone puts bacon on something I'm not supposed to eat. Like I'm not supposed to eat donuts, and I'm just like, I double dislike this. But I found someone, not this year, but the previous year. I found someone who was willing to split one with me. I'm like, okay, if I'm going down eating the wrong thing, I should only eat half of it.
Mhm.
And someone's like, I'll eat the other half. I'm like, all right, now I'll try it. So, and oh my goodness, even though I disagree with it fundamentally, that is a magnificent pastry.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, that is a well thought out, perfectly balanced
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah, you kind of get, I wanted somebody to share one with me too, because I thought it was gonna be thick and rich, and I was like, I just don't want all that sugar.
Yeah.
And then nobody would do it, so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna eat it. And as I got through half, I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't share it with nobody. I was like, man, that's awesome. but yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, Don R. Unfortunately, there's Don R. is in Kentucky, or is that where you're talking about, Don R? Don R. said you need to come fish with him this year. Yeah, I need to fish with a lot of people. I want to go fish with LG Bass too up there off the dock. Everybody's making me jealous
Yep.
with all their live streams and their videos, just to hang out with him and Michelle. I don't really care if we catch fish, but just to go there and hang out.
Yeah,
But
but if you went there and caught a 60, that wouldn't offend you either.
I would not be offended if I had a qualification for Blue Cat of the Year there. LG Bass said the best thing to put on bacon is more bacon. Yes, sir. Um, but yeah, so I was all day Thursday was set up, and I got to meet a lot of people and tested a lot of things, and really felt like I was able to contribute, and so I really appreciated that. Um, and then Friday came around, and man, it was just Friday. The crowd was insane.
Soon as Friday started, I swear the next thing I was looking at my watch and I'm like, holy cow, Kevin's got to get ready to go on stage
Yeah,
here. I'm like, this whole day just went by.
yeah, that
So
was
many
kind of nerve
people.
wracking
So
because
many people were there.
yeah, the seminar before me had ran over. It was the panel, and it was running over, and I kept looking over. I was like, "Yeah, let's go, let's go," and so I had to rush to get set up. But once it gets rolling, it kind of runs itself. And Mike's on the Golden Whiskers committee with me, and we kind of made some comments last night. Was our meeting actually, and we're gonna figure out some ways to make it more smoother and more interactive, and work on the sound in house. I believe the sound online was good this time, but so traded one for the other. But I
I
also had people come up and speak, and so one of the
Yeah.
microphones was gained down for some reason. I'm not sure, but I thought it went well, man. I thought that there was a point where the energy was down in the room towards the end because people were getting tired. But there's really nothing you can do about that. You got to get all the awards out. But I'm glad that you were able to sit there, and we even had a one of the bigger small business owners in the industry sitting there, catch the fever, and so he was able to contribute and see that. Um, and then we went back and ate grilled meats, and then we did it all over again on Saturday. And Saturday we had a kids giveaway, which was awesome. Now Jason, our buddy Jason, couldn't make it, so he he had court and had to do responsible adult things, so he couldn't have fun with us, and so he kind of missed out, him and his daughter. And but we had a one of our boom squad members actually donated $300 and said, "Hey, go do stuff for kids." So myself and Mr. Jeep and Hooks and Hammocks Chris and Cody, we went around and turned $300 into about $700 worth of equipment, which we thank the vendors for that. And we were able to give away like 7 rods, hats. We gave away uh, 2 hats, uh, some stuffed toys, all kinds of stuff, and it was good. It wasn't as big and as um, what do you call it? Organized as what Jason and Mike did last year, but just flying off the hip. It worked out really well. So we thank you. I already said his name, John, for donating that money. And we took videos. If you want to see those videos, those are all on Facebook, my Facebook page. You can go check that out. The smiles on those guys' faces was awesome. Those kids' faces. Uh,
I I was asked by Kevin Saturday morning. He's like, "Hey, how do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Me." And he's like, "Okay, not you." And I didn't say it, but what I had meant to say was, I think I want to watch it happen this time,
mm,
because the first time I did it just for me, but then it inspired Jason. So then he came back the next day and turned it into something that I couldn't believe. And then it happened again through in Louisville through Anvil Rods. Steve's like, hey, let's do it. Come on over here, and it was me and Donnie, right?
yeah.
And so that was awesome. Then Kansas City, what last year was just
Wow.
crazy. I mean, I was giving away 3 to 6 different items every hour,
It was nuts.
just to try to
I
get through
couldn't
everything. I
keep
was there
up with all the names.
both days in a row. 3 to 6 items per hour to these kids, which was amazing, overwhelming, just so invaluable. It
Yeah.
was epic. But then this time, I'm like, I don't know what Kevin's doing today, but I was like,
This time he
he
was
can
like,
do it.
Kevin doesn't have enough to do.
Yeah. So, but then Cody was right there.
I grabbed
Larry
Cody,
was right
man. Cody
there.
saved my life with that.
Yeah. Freddie was right next to us and contributed and wanted to help out and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he came over and he's just like, dude, man, my heart's just gonna beat it right out of my chest. He's like, I can't believe how awesome this feels. He's like, look, that little kid, and
Yeah.
with that rod
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't let anybody give me something for free.
yeah,
So I paid everybody something because we had the money. The only one that wouldn't take anything was Matt Knight. Like he was like, either you get a rod or for free, or you can't have one, or you buy it full. Or no, actually, I told him I'll buy it full price. And he's like, well, what if I don't sell it to you? I was like, all right, man.
Ooh.
I don't got time for this. So he did give us a free rod, and then Jeep got some free rods from H&H.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't I just didn't what I don't like doing, and I have a rough time asking for things, and that's kind of weird maybe for some people, but like these companies get hit up for sponsorships all the time,
Yep.
and so like somebody else asked me like, hey, why didn't you ask if I wanted to sponsor Golden Whiskers? I was like, I mean, I put it out there. You could have, came and got me, but you get asked, you get tapped all the time. It's not fair. I know what it's like to run a small business, and you're tapped out. Like you have a budget, but thankfully there's some good-hearted people there. And yeah, Cody, man, Cody was a rock star. He was drawing them names, and I could tell he was getting tired too. He's like, "Hey, let's draw another one. Let's draw another."
Yeah.
I was like,
It
"True
is.
that, man. Let's get him out."
I was exhausted at Kansas City last year, but looking back on it, man, I don't know there's any better way to spend energy than to be a positive influence on a youth angler. And some of the scenarios there, some of the kids in Louisville the previous year, you could just tell that you just made an unforgettable impact on a kid
Yeah,
who's
they
going
got
to
a big
go out there
football.
and fish. So that's unbelievable. I mean that we may have all had that experience in a different way, maybe not with a brand new shiny rod and reel combo,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, that's so cool. And I was glad that you were able to be more of a part of it. So,
Yeah,
um,
there was one point where I had to go help Steve out, and that's kind of why he's in the situation he is now. He looked at me, he goes, "I think I'm having a heart attack." I was like, "Ha ha ha!" He goes, "No, like I know what it feels like. I really think I'm." I was like, "Steve, go. Do I need to call the ambulance? Do I need to like what do I need to do? I'll be all right as long as I don't run." Okay, so then I followed him for the next 2 hours, and so people were texting me, "Hey, call this name, call that name," because I had the mic in my hand for the whole conference center,
mhm.
which I should have handed that off, is what I should have done. But man, it's hard to trust somebody with that. That's a lot of, somebody could really ruin the conference holding that.
Yep.
um, but anyway,
Happens
yeah,
all the time. People have
everybody,
hot mics and
yeah,
they're in the press booth, and next thing you know, networks are apologizing and people are getting fired and language and this and that or whatever, bad
mhm.
jokes being told. Oh Lord, it
But
gets bad.
another thing that happened Saturday morning was we filmed my video that I just released, um, the Demon Dragon Secrets.
Oh man, I've been
Uh,
sitting here for 39 minutes trying to remember what it is because Kevin was like, "Man, this is good stuff. Save this." He's like, "Till we go live," and I'm like, "Push the button." I'm like, "Oh wait," I was like, "I need to get something to drink first." And ever since he had mentioned that on the intro of this, I'm like, "What did I say that he was saying?"
it took me this long to remember. Well, it was Jeremy from Tackle Bandit. It was his idea. We have a crew of anglers, mostly YouTubers that use demon dragons. And basically, they give us some demon dragons every once in a while. And we fish with them and make videos. It's mostly to help the company, but we also have codes. Like if anybody uses our code to buy it, we get credit at Tackle Bandit. So we get some hooks or something like that. So it helps our channels out too, but it also helps a really good company out and anglers too. But so it was me, El Gato Azul, Chris, Bob from Bobcat Outdoors, Larry and Cody from 3+1 Outdoors, Jamie and Richard from JR Fishing, Jason Hamilton, who's a big time tournament angler from Mike's area, actually, and then Fishing with Big Mike was there as well. And so we just did a roundtable discussion where everybody kind of told how they use them and the body of water they fish and what their favorite was. And Mike had some good comments about it, and you said you really enjoyed it.
Well, I was telling Kevin before the show that I wanted to put a comment on there. Now, the only reason why I ever hesitate not to put a comment on somebody's video is because I text them every day. So I'm like, well, I could just tell him, but then you miss that opportunity to help because I think the algorithm definitely likes when you get interaction on your videos with your subscribers or with anybody. And then sometimes people actually read those comments
Yeah,
and you
they
get a
do.
little thumbs up here or a thumbs up there or whatever.
Yeah.
And what I had mentioned to him was that I had not used a Demon Dragon style float very much, but then I noticed how the Mexicat would outfish me. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what's he doing different from me that I'm not doing? Well, he's got a silver demon dragon on there elevating his bait. And I'm like, we're fishing in a reservoir, man. I was like, you don't need to, I was like, that's for the river, isn't it? He's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, oh, I was like, okay. And hey, I love gear, so I'm checking out gear. But when you get to listen to, 7 or 8 different people talk about how they rig it, why they rig it, what their conditions are, what their waters typically are, uh, current, water depth, what technique they're using with that float. You learn so much from all of them. And I specifically stated that I thought that I would know what Jason was going to say because I watch all of his stuff on Facebook.
Hmm.
I watch all of his stuff on TikTok, and I didn't know anything of what he was going to say. So I felt like instantly shocked. But then I'm like, I need a notepad. I need to write some of this stuff down. And you learn from like right out of the gate. Was it Bob who puts a zip tie around it?
Yeah, that
I'm
was a
like,
great idea.
I got zip ties right here. Never would have thought of it. I was like, I've put tape on some of them sometimes. And then you have other people that are like, I don't do that. I actually tie it to both ends. And I'm like, okay. Then they explained why. You had a absolutely stunning comment from, I believe it was Larry or Cody. If it's Cody, I'm sorry because I pick on Cody a lot in the live chats. So I'm not trying to pick on him now if I happen to be picking on him, but I'm going to credit Larry. I thought Larry said that it's muddy water and they didn't feel like the scent traveled as far. So they like that sound from the brute and how much louder it is. And was
Mhm.
was it you who called it a baby rattle? Because this
Yeah,
thing is loud.
the brute does sound like a baby rattle.
I heard people shaking them,
Yeah.
and that that was nowhere near us at
Mhm.
CatCon, and you could hear the brute being shaken.
It's loud as, and sometimes you wonder if it's too loud. I did hear that comment. It's like sometimes it'll, you wonder if it spooks fish. So what I did, one of the things that I think, and it shows integrity a lot with these guys, is that they said, sometimes I don't use them. Sometimes I just use Carolina rig, or sometimes I just use peg float. It just depends. If nothing's biting, on the Demon Dragon side of the boat and something's biting the peg float, then you better change the peg floats. It's not gonna work in every situation. So Jason said that, Big Mike said that. I'm sure other people did. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but
And peg floats are available to you at tacklebandit.com.
yeah.
I think that the code only works specifically on the Demon Dragon product, though, right?
Yeah, the Demon Dragon only works for the Demon Dragon code, which is Catfish 20, only works on the demondragons.com site. But, Tackle Bandit's awesome. I don't have any coded Tackle Bandit, but
Oh, I do. I'll find you one.
there you go.
Just get with me. I'll find
Mike's
you a code if you need
code
a code
finder.
Yeah. Yeah. Master code breaker.
Yeah. But codes are something that I don't know. I think I know they benefit the angler more than the content creator because you have these codes that are out there, and sometimes, especially on PC Fun, you can use them during a sale event. So they'll have like 15% off, and then you put my Cat 18 code in, and then you get an extra 18% off. So some people really, really make out on those. I know Mike has in the past. Actually, I still have them Christmas codes out that still work.
Yeah, it still works, Kevin.
Yeah, if you get like 3 or more, it's like Cat 00, and you get like one for free, something crazy like that. But But yeah, man, like I didn't, and that was such a tough situation to film in because
there's so much noise.
So somebody had turned the lapel mic off, and we had filmed the entire thing with the lapel mic off. And so I was like, oh crap. Like, we got to the end and I figured out that it was off. And so thankfully that camera right in the center of the table had a good microphone on it, because otherwise you wouldn't have seen a video. Hey, Big Wrench, how you doing? But yeah, so that was awesome that it worked. Yeah, he was.
When you say Big Wrench, yep, that is a big dude.
Yeah, he is a big guy.
I was looking up at Big Wrench. So
but yeah, other highlights at CatCon, I mean, just the amount of new people I've met. The elbow rubbing is also cool, like making connections, making huge contacts. I thought the blacklight room went awesome, and learned a lot about how to set that up. So next year it'll be even better.
The baits that glow. Wow. I don't know how much footage you got in that room, but seeing the rods glow, yeah, I expected that. Seeing the crappie baits glow, wow.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Tackle Bandit trailer is probably a 30-foot trailer, cargo trailer, and they just dropped the back door on it, and I took my black lights and hooked them all up in there, and then we zip tied rods and glowing line, like the canine braid glows. We proved it. And some demon dragons glow, crappy baits like Mike just said, and people got to walk in there and just experience what it looks like before they bought the rod. So if they came to CatCon looking for a glowing rod, they could walk in there and go, oh, that Anvil rod's really bright, or that Mad Catz rod's really bright. They can even look at it and just see how it look, and then they can go buy it. Pick it up, hold it, get the action they want. And that's something I never thought about until this CatCon. Is people talk about picking up rods and hold them in your hand, and reels, same thing. But I never realized like all that went into that, like why that's so important. Not so much that you can feel how the rod feels, but so that you can get the action right. For instance, I've had a couple of Hellcat rods, great rods. The action is a lot looser, I guess, on like a Hellcat medium heavy than a Mad Catz medium heavy, which is more of a stiffer rod. And if you had never knew that, or you didn't have a friend with one, or you never seen one in a shop, and you just bought it, you would think, oh, all medium heavies are like this. So I'm going to get a medium heavy and a Mad Catz rod. And you buy it, and then it's like, I'm not going to say a broomstick, but it's a lot stiffer comparatively.
Yeah.
And then you're upset because you're like, well, these things are the same thing, they're different. But like for instance, I think the Mad Catz medium and the Hellcat medium heavy are the same rod. Like they feel great, you know. But then you get something like, the Anvil medium heavy, which is in between the two, So you really get an opportunity to what do we say? Get that experience, that wiggle.
That's right.
Speaking
You
of
know?
wiggle, we had Chunky Cats there this time. That was the first time you met Elston.
Oh, that was funny. Let me tell you about that, everybody. So I had befriended Elston years and years ago because he was complaining that he could only do his live show for 2 hours and then his boat battery would die. And I'm like, well, you're using the wrong kind of battery. And it sounds like the battery's old. So you don't have full capacity on it anyway. I was like, so would you let me send you a battery? And he's like, well, how long will it power my show? So we're talking this and that, communicating, and I'm like, you could probably run your show for just under 12 hours. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh man, that's
Oh.
awesome. He's like, because I want to fish for like 6 hours. He's like, if I go out, I want to fish like 4 to 7 hours,
Uh-huh.
So I sent him a battery. Boom. The Chunky show, explodes and goes on longer and everybody's super happy, yada yada yada. So now the Chunky show is even, bigger probably. It's definitely going on more often.
Uh-huh.
He's transferred over to TikTok. Anyway, I had never met him face to face until CatCon. He comes over with his tripod and he's live on
Uh-huh.
TikTok. And he's like, oh, let me get this set up here. I said, you better get over here and give me a hug before I donkey kick that thing. I was like, I don't care if you're live. And everybody's like, what did you say? They're like, dude, you can't say that. I'm like, I can do it too. I was like, come here, man, give me a hug. So he comes over and gives me a hug, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna make you cry. So I let him go before, because we've been friends for this many years and talk all the
Uh-huh.
time and this and that and everything. And the last time that he came over like 4 times. He was live the first 3 times on TikTok, walking around CatCon. The last time he came over and he had just shut it off, and he just got to sit down. And it wasn't it you, me, Chunky, and Art. We were just sitting there for just a few minutes, just chilling for just a few
Mm-hmm.
minutes, just talking. I'm like, man, dude, this is the best.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is so cool. I was like, Kevin finally got a moment to relax. Elston's not live. I was like, me and Art are here
When
resting
you
our
guys
feet.
got up and just walked away.
Yeah,
But no, it was good. I'm glad you guys finally got to meet, man, because you've impacted his show so much.
tried to.
Yeah.
Tried to be a good impact on him, but I just kind of was drawn into all this stuff. It's just like, man, dude, this guy makes cool stuff. I was like, I think I can help him though, and I was like, if he's willing to discuss it and accept a gift, and then our friendship started the same way,
Mm-hmm.
and now look at it. I mean, it's years and years later. I I mean, the other day Spencer was I went to lunch with Spencer and he was talking. And he's like, man, I don't know how long I've been making these videos. I said, you've been making them since Lauren was born. Cause I know, cause I've been watching you since the beginning.
That's awesome.
And so, and before that, as I was preparing to become a father, I was watching Chris Flores and Luke
Mm-hmm.
Nichols because they were the ones who had little kids and they were still fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kept talking about Steve Douglas, and I'm like, "Who's the catfish dude?" And then I see what you had talked about, how this rod is just buried, like every single one of the eyes are in the water, and you're like, get it, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, there's a big one. What a cool cat, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how, and I think that's the best thing about CatCon, especially since most of us really started connecting right before or right when COVID started,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't see each other for like 2 years because CatCon, the original format didn't happen, and so now we're able to come together like it used to be before I was even a part of it. So I think that's really cool, and that's the best part. I think people have differences, and they will always have differences. You'll never get a group of people to agree on everything. It just won't happen. And if you think it'll happen, you're delusional. Um, but I think at CatCon, when everybody kind of gets in the same place, you forget about all that stuff and you set it aside.
Yeah,
And
you enjoy the moment.
like I know there was a couple guys there that I've not seen eye to eye with, or they not seen eye to eye with me for whatever reason. But then they give me a hug when I'm there. And it's like it feels good. It's like that's what it's about. It's about you know this little petty stuff or whatever, putting all that stuff aside and just being happy with each other, just hanging out and shooting a breeze, talking about fishing, or Chinese buffets or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part. And that's what Saturday is for me. Like Friday is rough because my stomach's all a ball of nerves all the way up. And some people would say, "Oh, you're nervous because you get up on stage." That doesn't bother me because I talk in front of people all the time. But the electronics part of it, getting everything set up, my anxiety runs rampant all day. And if I could make it work to where it wasn't in anybody's way, I'd have everything set up on Thursday and just let it sit there. But you can't do that at CatCon. So I think I know that's my favorite part. Um, another thing that was really cool and Steve put a lot of heart and soul into it was that dock shooting area.
I
And
didn't even see it.
I don't think that went exactly how he wanted, but I think it went well regardless. Because you had kids over, he had a couple rods set up, and you could dock shoot little jig heads into metal targets that Josh from the Weekend Angler made. And he was supposed to have a competition, but never really got around to rules and figuring it out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just something you can just go over there and do. And I think that's more valuable than anything. Seeing a dad over there with his little daughter or son saying, "Hey, this is how
Well,
you do this," and you hear a little ting ting in the background. I thought that was really cool.
I
Now,
almost went over
honestly,
there because they kept saying that there was a bathroom over there that wasn't quite as busy as the other bathroom and that it
oh
had
yeah,
more stalls.
behind the
Yeah.
crappy stage.
I didn't know it was there. I was almost heading over there one time because the line got pretty long.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Freddie. Yeah, no, it's. I went in there a few times. But yeah, if I had anything to do with it, if Steve ever asked me, he goes, "Well, what do you think about the dock shooting thing?" I would tell him leave it exactly how it is. Set up rods there, maybe on a rod rack, and just say maybe have some instructions, or it'd be cool if you could make it interactive and have a TV on a loop with the video showing people how to dock shoot. I got all kinds of ideas for next year already.
Mhm.
Like my booth is gonna be, I'm gonna win best booth award for a YouTuber because I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it right. Anna's gonna have all kinds of hot stuff you can eat and go crazy with. There's Freddie giving us $5 late fee. Love the podcast. Thanks, Freddie. That's Freddie from FOA Customs. We talked about him earlier and his heart for kids and just helping people. So, in CatCon is a whole bunch of buildup and then a whole bunch of quick or flies by so quick. But we did have some good conversations in the hotel room, and the breakfast was good. The hotel was awesome. I hope we get that one next year.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Don R with the $4 super sticker. Thank you, Don R.
It was in the other direction too, so that way I could drive by and take a look more at the UPS Air Hub. I
Yeah,
mean
that's
that
crazy.
that thing was something, and
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
all good with it until a 747 cargo plane lands right on top of me. It looks like it's going so slow that it's going to just land right on me. I'm like, go punch it, Trish, get out of here. Oh, it was something. I'm like, no.
That's funny. Yeah, we did actually stop by a Bucky's on the way there.
Yeah, that huge
We had,
location, the
we had
huge.
never been to one. It's cool, but I still don't really get it. Like I mean, it's a gas station. Whatever. People are
Now,
gonna
I've been
crucify me now.
told that the largest truck stop in the United States is actually in Iowa,
Huh?
and I've driven by and missed it. I don't know how many times, including once on the way to CatCon, Kentucky, and back. So
Huh?
anytime I go towards the Mississippi River, I go by this gigantic truck. I mean, it looks like an amusement park. It's so big. I'm
Hmm.
like, what's that? And they're like, that's that big truck stop. I'm like, oh, it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know how many different buildings. And I mean, it looks like Adventureland to me. I'm like, what on earth is that? So yeah, I don't want to stop at any gigantic monstrosity. I want
Yeah.
to go to a small place where they have gas station sushi and pizza
uh.
that I can trust.
Yeah. Me too. Um. So moving forward, um, like I said, I got this weigh in this weekend. Should be fun. We got a bunch of ladies call outs coming up. Tournament coming out.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna be fun. I will be going on May 6th. It's still a ways away.
couple bass tournaments this weekend too.
Yep,
I
a couple
think.
bass tournaments. Shireena's keeping it real's got one, and Josh the Weekend Angler's got one.
Yep,
Um,
I like it.
yeah, I love it all.
Yeah,
And
loves to catch bass because they jump out of the water when they fight you.
hey,
It's exciting.
green carp are fun too.
That's right.
And then in May we have the something you and I come up with was the Palmetto 500, and
I'm
you and I
excited about it. I hope that takes off. I hope lots of people enjoy it and want to do more of it.
think we got about five people involved right now.
I want some imposter Palmetto 500s. I mean, I want it to do something because panfish are everywhere.
Yeah.
Most people have to catch them for bait. Why not?
Mm.
Put a little more content out like that. Here's something I challenge everybody. Challenge anybody who hears this. If you're out there catching bait, do a video catching bait or do a little quick live of you catching bait.
Or short
Tell
shorts are
tell me what size hook you use. Tell me what size line you use. Tell me how simple it can be. Help me out. I did not start fishing this way. I need to learn the basics. I beg people all the time, like, hey, talk to me like a beginner because I am. And they
Mhm.
never respond because maybe they think I'm joking or I don't know what, but I'm serious. It's like, that's why I love your shell cracker videos because you're like, here's how we do it. And
Mhm.
you're showing exactly how you put
Yeah.
the bit of worm on that hook. I would have never thought to use that long of a shank on a hook. But then
Yeah.
again,
That way
too,
when they swallow it, you can still get it out.
yeah, and maybe your shell cracker are that much bigger because you the big
They
shell
are pretty
cracker in your lake are like the size of a hubcap, right?
they are pretty
So,
big.
so I challenge anybody. I mean, please help me learn. Teach me something, show me something, and let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, that one should be fun. And just to kind of wrap up, something that I'm going to be announcing, and you're welcome to come up, Mike, on Wednesday night. But on Wednesday night show, we're going to be announcing a tournament series that I've created um, to kind of develop all this camaraderie we've been talking about. Keep that Catfish Conference feel going, where we're working together to for a common goal. There's so many live tournaments now that it'd be nice to get them all under one calendar. So it promotes catch picture release, to help with conservation. Um, and it's just something fun. Like people who really like fishing, some people really like fishing the tournaments a lot. I mean, they sign up for every one of them. And so if you're already fishing tournaments, why not get some points for it and get an award at the end of the year, you know?
Heck yeah.
So, for each, I'll go over this, but basically at the end of the year, it's kind of like a club championship. It doesn't cost anything to you, doesn't cost anything to the people, the tournament directors, as it were. Um, you just say, "Hey, I want my tournament in the club," and we go from there. Nothing really extra, but I'm going to keep track of the points, and Mike and I will update you on the podcast, and I'll update you on a Wednesday night show. And at Catfish Conference during the Golden Whiskers, we'll announce a club champion for the first time, and they'll get a belt, like a WWE belt, and we're going to have a forever trophy that kind of gets presented at CatCon, and when you win each year, your name goes on it. So, lots of cool stuff. Spring is right around the corner. People are going to start fishing. You're seeing a lot more fishing videos, hopefully, a lot more lives, definitely. Um,
I got like 10 inches of snow Saturday.
a lot of people
So-
did get their last dousing of snow this weekend.
I can always throw that stick right into Kevin's spokes of his bicycle when he's talking. Oh man, it's
Yeah.
getting warm. We're getting ready. I'm like, yeah, we just got snow.
I mean, it is 40.
It's coming though.
It's 49 degrees here, so it is kind of chilly.
I got to fish 6 days in a row. I fished the day before, or the 2 days before we buried Gramps, and then I fished the day, and I caught a fish after we buried Gramps.
Agreed
So,
cut, right?
and then I fished a couple days after that. Man, I tell you what, I talk about it all the time. I think about it all the time. I want to fish every single day, but wow, just makes me feel so much better when I get to.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. That's how I think when
That's
I'm
your
trying to
story,
give
and you're
someone an
sticking
idea,
to it.
So like Kevin said, community, there's so much value there. You're talking about, the love and fun and integrity and courage, and let's help everybody excel. So
I couldn't agree more, man. And more than in addition to excelling, let's help everybody be a little bit more happier and not be so, you know, strong browed, so angry all the time. It's kind of like another pandemic is just being ornery all the time. It's because you don't got no medulla oblongata.
yeah, my face looked like that for like a decade.
Well,
Then,
some
then it
people have
softened up.
that resting mean face. I won't say the
Yep,
popular term, but and you can't help that. But when your mouth opens up, something positive should come out. And,
that's right.
we shouldn't we're not always supposed to be happy, but we should have joy in the life God has given us. And it's one of those scripture verses I just looked at the other day. So hopefully, not to say that this tournament idea is gonna magically change everything, but it can't hurt. And that's kind of what we're gonna do. And I got Brian B to go along with me. He's got 4 or 5 tournaments, so it's gonna be
Yeah, he
awesome.
does.
So, well, that being said, Mike, I think we had a good first show back, man. It's already an hour and 8 minutes,
Yeah,
9 minutes. Yeah,
yeah, and we're already ready for Wednesday.
we never really have a hard time coming up with something to talk about.
No,
But
no,
yeah, look forward to hopefully us getting back regular, guys. And thanks for hanging in. Those of you who did, we'll do our best to get regular stuff out
yeah.
um, as much as we can.
I
So
guarantee you that my computer system at work has not been improved one little bit, but I am manipulating it how I need
there
to.
you go.
I am reducing hours. It's just you get caught off guard here and there by a
Yeah.
few things, and I think Kevin's work is busier than he admits it is.
It is very busy. No, like
he he is a very busy man.
spring sports are in action, man. Like,
Yep.
like I've already told Patriot James, I said March 29th, I can't, and thanks for him. He's been wanting to kind of do shows again. And
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, you can take it back, bro. And he's like, no,
That's
it's
right.
yours. And I don't want to go full time. I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you go whenever you want. And so March 29th will be a Patriot James night, and I'll be at a baseball game. But I like supporting the kids, and they just yesterday or today, one of the kids came up, Mr. Lakey, man, I'm just wondering why you hadn't been out there taking pictures like you usually do. I said, man, I'm sorry, man. I've just been so busy, and your games have been falling on different, Wednesday nights or Tuesday when I have group, and I felt really bad. I was like, I'm coming, man. I promise I'm coming. So I got to do right by those kids.
What sport is that?
That was a baseball kid. But we have 2 baseball teams, 2 softball teams, 3 soccer teams, uh, a track and field team, obviously, and a boys tennis team. All have games during the weeks. So every day there's something going on. Hey, Bill, we're just about to get out of here, but thanks for
I've
popping in.
I've told you it's rough having 2 kids. It'd be even more rough. How many you got? 800?
608.
608.
Yeah.
Woo!
But
That is something.
it means something to me that a kid wants me to be there.
Yeah.
I don't have kids of my own, so the
To
fact that it's
for
somebody
for
else,
them to say it
so somebody
is
else's kid,
that's a lot.
to
Yeah.
go, hey, and whether it's not, it's just for pictures because we've got pictures of the baseball team. I got a little girl that takes pictures for me,
Yep.
but you know, he said take pictures, but he really wants me out there to watch him. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for everybody coming in. Thanks for the Boom Squad for coming in tonight. We had like 10 members almost come in. And to those of you listening, if you want to watch the live stream and become a part of chat, and all you have to do is go to Puma the Cats, click that join button, join the Boom Squad. Also, make sure you check out Murillo's Family Fishing. That's Mike's channel, and you get to see live fisherman interviews in the bus loop or in the car rider line, and and also live fishing with Lauren and Mike and Leia and other family members sometimes. So make sure you check out both of those channels, guys. But that being said, I'm gonna pray for us. We're gonna get out of here. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this podcast. Thank you for blessing it. Thank you for being so present in everything we do. Just give you all the credit and the honor and the glory for everything. And I pray for everyone that's listening that if they're going through anything, Lord, that they could just pray to you and accept you and know that you will help them through whatever they're going through, Lord. And if they don't have anybody to talk to, they can email one of us and we'll help them, Lord. They're not alone. Thank you for people in chat, and thank you for Mike and his friendship, and just thank you for all your blessings. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody. Until next time, happy fishing.